4 points in 2 games. Is that good? Is it bad? There are 1,000 opinions out there, and fans seem to be torn on what is currently what. So we are going to dive into it tonight. It isn't all fun and games, though, as I stumbled across a big controversy on Facebook this week about Barrial's shorts going up too high. And here I thought this was a fun game, just the people in my section played. I never thought I'd see a modesty complaint on the field, so I appreciate that fan for actually shocking me about what is really possible when it comes to complaints. Never saw it coming. This one just has to kind of chuckle when they see that. I have a theory, though, that 0-0 matches bring out the weirdness in every single one of us. You see, our brains struggle to rationalize that nothing happened outside of defense and missed opportunity, but also we still got a point. And it isn't all that bad. So you wonder, throughout the next week, after a 0-0 draw, what else in life can be middle of the road, but also okay? Like, will you get in a car accident that causes no damage? Will you order food, get the wrong item, but also an extra item you do like? 0-0 draw. It's one of the life's weird quirks and enigmas that just seems to break the tiniest amount of logic in our brain. So tonight, we're going to push past that oddness and focus on what truly counts. Barrial's legs. I mean, Cincinnati Soccer Talk. I am joined tonight by some of familiar voices, and tonight we are pleased to be joined by MLS's and Apple TV's best, Julian Sekovitz. But first, let's bring in the host of Jersey Swap, Jeff Tebbets. Welcome, sir. Oh, wait, I gotta meet you there, buddy.
Oh, there we go. I guess a 0-0 draw basically is like an episode of Jersey Swap that never aired. Unfortunately, this week we had technical difficulties. My computer was just all blip, blip, blip. It was doubling words and slurring words. It's like someone gave it a highball or something over the recording. So apologies to everybody, but we should get it out. We've got one of the guys from Sounder at Heart to show up for Wednesday, and we'll get that recording out this week.
Yep. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Your show was great last week, by the way. The guest did a phenomenal job. Thanks to Orlando City for showing up. Your guest was from which podcast?
It was from the mainland. Ben Miller was really good for him to show up. They're in the process of getting themselves a brand new, not a brand new website, but brand new funding. They were an SB Nation site. So, hey, if you visit them and you have the opportunity to give it to them.
Jason was staring at me during my introduction like I had a third eye. Jason, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. In what world is having any sort of car accident like a positive? Unless like crash your car and you get a new car.
I'll tell you what, that story wasn't just a random example pulled out of a hat. That happened to me. I got hit in the back one time, and I get out. It's at a red light, and I get out, and it's like this 16-year-old kid, and I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to have to go through this thing. I'm not going to make my dinner on time, blah, 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 blah. Look at it. Nothing. Just tapped me, maybe bent the license plate a little. Just the relief that comes after that. If you haven't been there, let me just tell you, it's a wave of relief. Like, you think this thing is going to end horribly, and it's a 0-0 draw, man.
Okay. In context, it makes sense.
Well, how you doing, though? Good week?
I'm doing good. Skies out, thighs out. Am I right? Just like Barrial. So.
Oh, boy. Jillian has no idea what she's getting herself into this week. All right, Justin, welcome back. Good to see your face again.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on. Got to enjoy a lot of the matches this week. First week, being able to sit down and enjoy it. Obviously, worked on the article, got some of the press conference, got off my soapbox to my friends in the room. Felt like MLS match week.
That's right. Well, I appreciate you guys all joining us tonight. As you all know, Apollo Home is our premium home service provider in Cincinnati, and as well as our sponsor. They pride themselves on awesome customer service, expert technicians, and 7-day-a-week service. For a limited time, they're offering a $39 furnace tune-up. Keep your HVAC system running strong this winter with this $39 tune-up offer. Give them a call. Schedule a line at apollohome.com or cincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. Banner click. All right, let's get into your best and worst. Action-packed week. We got Orlando down, Seattle around the corner. Jason, you're up first. Best and worst.
Best, I'm going to be Mr. Brightside here and say that a point on the road is always positive. The worst, much like most of the Killers' repertoire, I'm going to say there was lack of firepower. And, we've got 3 big DPs up front. None of them have scored a goal so far this season. I'm not panicking, but, that's not really something you want to see going into this year when your big-name strikers aren't putting goals in the back of the net.
It seems a little bit different than we thought. I think in our preseason episodes, we said Cincinnati is going to be the team that gets out in front of these sides because they're the ones that have the returning attack. Flabbergasted?
A little bit. I mean, it's not like they haven't had chances, though. I'd be more worried if we weren't creating chances. But, there have been a few. There's been a few sitters they've missed. They found the woodwork a couple of times. It's just kind of disappointing. With one of the guys, Brenner in particular, wanting to go to Europe this summer, he's going to have to produce in order to make that move this summer. Otherwise, he's going to be here till the end of the year.
Ooh, tough. Jeff, best and worst.
Okay, I guess we're going to have to stay on the Killers playlist here. But maybe somebody told me Matthew Miazga, Yerson Mosquera, Hags in the back, dude,
that's amazing.
That was
Never
off the
do
top
that
of my
again.
head, but I got some solid numbers coming from the defense here. There was such an Achilles heel last year that for those 3 to sort of compile things, be the starting 3 last week and this week, and they've only given up 1 goal over 2 games. That is an incredible turnaround. I feel like my positivity with the back 3 is through the roof. I mean, you have those 3, weave in Ian Murphy now and then, and I think you've got yourself a basis for a solid back 3. I don't know how much in the tank they have, or if they can last maybe until June and then you bring in somebody. I think you've got yourself a good, solid defensive line. That being said, I also work with the worst here, and the edges of the back line are what made me take pause and a step back. Barriel had such a good week last 2 weeks ago for the first game that him not improving his game felt like a step back. He had average numbers. He got burned on a deep pass that almost led to a goal. And frankly, he just did not have it. His numbers were unfortunately just unappetizing. And then you've got Gaddis and Powell on the other side. Gaddis had a decent game, but he wasn't the guy I would have started in this game. I would have taken Powell for 60 minutes and then waste Gaddis. If you have a lead, have Gaddis come in and occupy that space. So maybe next week we see Foster come in for a few minutes. I'd like to see if he can give Barriel a little bit of a spell as well.
Yeah, we see your best and worst coming in here on social media. Appreciate that. Jay Yates also following up with the missing a bunch of chances. However, he says, positive spin, it was only 2 years ago, and we have been thrilled to get these chances. 4 points in 2 games, of course. Sign me up. I think you would have took it before the season, right? Eric Schmitz, Basque Mascara, worst lack of connection on the big 3 up front, following your thoughts there, Jeff. He also thinks it's going to come, just not there yet. Justin, did any of those steal your best and worst?
Almost. I had to think about the worst, but as far as the best, I just think it's pretty impressive, FC Cincinnati being able to create those many opportunities. I know we didn't cash them in, but we created tons of chances against a team that was sitting 9 in the attacking third for most of the game. Orlando City didn't look like they wanted in any part of picking up 3 points at home. They were completely turtle shelling. Their defense was completely set in, and we were still able to create a lot, particularly on that left side with Barriel, Acosta, and Brenner. So I'm pretty impressed with that. As far as the worst goes, only 1 corner through 2 matches. It's pretty disappointing. I think part of it, I mean, we didn't have Santiago Arias, but we're not asking him to move up too far up the pitch right now. So for me, I think FC Cincinnati needs to find ways to stretch those back lines and make them play a little bit wider, because the chances inside of the box are going to come if they're not so congested. And then the corners will be an obvious sign that we are being able to attack that back line.
touching on the corners, I didn't think anybody would grab that this week. No, I wanted him so bad, Devin, to say that in the
you
MLS rundown.
You could see how bad it was the first game when you had Hector Herrera taking all of those corner kicks, and they were so on dime. And then I'm looking at our score columns, and there's nothing.
I thought we were going to go 2 matches. I really did.
Yeah,
I wonder what the MLS record is for most matches without a corner kick.
That was a point that we needed improvement going into the offseason. So it's kind of disappointing to see only one opportunity. So we're not really being able to grade how well we've improved in the offseason at that.
I was complaining about it in the chat during the game, and Nate goes, well, valid point, but he goes, why do you want those? We're not that great at them anyway. What are you trying to get at here? But I think the point is, if you're getting corner kicks, you're probably heavy in the attack, right? So real quick, my best and worst. Best, not clinching in the second half of matches anymore. There wasn't a point during this one where Orlando was too dangerous that I was sweating bullets. Past FC Cincinnati might have given up a goal here. I think we talked about this a little bit last week, but these last 2 games have felt a little bit more comfortable with Celentano in goal, that back line, a little bit more established than last year, it seems, thus far. So that is the positives there. Worst, it's hard to follow. It's hard to find something new that you guys haven't already touched on. But I think I'm just going to go with the fact that the attack seems stagnant, but we know when we've had these complaints before, Brandon Vasquez and Brenner and Lucho Acosta find a way to make us eat our words. So we're not there yet. We're not complaining too heavily, I don't think. Jeff.
Let's not forget that last year, our first 2 games of the season, we were 0-0, goose eggs for both games. And then bam, that's when the Brandon Vasquez train started to take off. So we started a little slow out of the gates, but this year it's not 0-2. It's we've got 4 points, not 0.
Yeah, and then even the subs off the bench, right? Kubo coming in this year just feels like an energetic bolt. What do you guys think about the swap? Brenner starting, Santos coming in versus the other way around in game 1?
I thought he should have started game 1, honestly. I mean, he's your top paid player. He was in good shape. He had a goal in the preseason. There's no reason not to start Brenner. Really, I understand why, but in my opinion, he should be starting every game from here on out if he can.
Even with Santos getting a goal in game 1?
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, I didn't see that coming from you, Jason. I take the opposite end of the thing. I mean, I think I play the hot hand in Santos in match 2 versus Orlando, especially because they're playing. They have a match tomorrow, so they're not playing a full-size squad. They rotated, did a little bit of rotation. I think all their starters ended up touching the field in that game, but they weren't all in there at the beginning and they weren't all in there at the end. So why not put a little pressure on the kids early?
Yeah, but I mean, Santos isn't going to create a lot of in the tight space opportunities like Brenner is. Brenner and Lucho, I mean, you saw it when they were playing with each other. They have a chemistry. They know when they're going. They know when to make the runs. Playing in those tight spaces with a compact box, it's a no-brainer. You got to play Brenner. All
right. Let's see. Is Jillian in here with us?
Yes, she is. I believe she's in the back room.
All right. While we're waiting for her, let's just quickly touch on. I think I'm going to go ahead and bring her in here. Let's get.
Hi, hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm here. Hi, everybody.
All right, we have Jillian Sakovic with us. You are MLS, Apple TV, brand new. What this is the new presentation, the new broadcast for Major League Soccer. We've all seen it for 2 weeks now. How are you enjoying it? What's the different feel?
Yes, the MLS season pass. Thank you all for having me. Excited to jump on here. I'm in my pajamas. I hope that's okay. That's what's going on at this point in the night. And happy to be here. And I think what everybody saw from week 1 and week 2 is that the place that it's airing and being put on really cares about MLS, like the 4 of you do, and like everybody who's listening and watching and talking about FC Cincinnati at 9:00 at night on a Monday. Like, that is exactly what Apple cares about at this level with us. And I think that's nice, right? You're not rushing to get off the air because something else is coming on. There's proper pregame shows, a proper full post-game show. And it's been great. It's been really fun. And I know we're nowhere near where the end product is going to be. And I think that's exciting because it's still better than so many of the other broadcast products I was part of that everybody cared, but there just wasn't the resources to be able to make that the only thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The good
and-
news is I think we've heard mostly positives thus far. I feel like you mentioned 9 p.m. twice there. Are you targeting us for having such a late show?
No, but let's be honest. If we were doing this at some of the previous broadcast partners, like, those are not the people that are talking about MLS or FC Cincinnati at 9:00 at night Eastern.
Yeah. We have to wait till our audience puts the kids to
I'm
bed.
saying that we're all in this, and that those are like that. Like, the people that are now putting this out are the same people who would be doing this right now. I'm here. I'm with you.
Awesome.
Jillian, I have a quick question. You mentioned other broadcast partners, and as we've seen, like, regional sports networks have all the issues that they've recently had. In what way do you think that this new deal with Apple TV Plus maybe changes the game as far as sports broadcasting goes with MLS?
Well, I think it's the first. I think it's the first of now what league follows. It's difficult because it's new in the way that technologically, like, you're trying to get the plane off the ground. And then it's a startup in so many ways because it's never been done before. But I think it's definitely the future. And I'm interested to see what league follows. And I think an interesting balance has been being critical, speaking openly in MLS wrap-up post-game about what club, what front office, what ownership groups need to be better. But yet we're still a product that is MLS and Apple. So that's a new type of relationship to maneuver. And it's been great so far. But I think leagues putting their own product on a streaming service is kind of like the Wild West. And I'm really excited for MLS that instead of maybe trying to do what the NBA does so often, trying to follow the NFL, where Commissioner Don Garber comes from, which is how a baby league grows itself. It's really great that MLS is the first to do it. And because someone will be next, especially with all of the really unfortunate news with the regional sports networks. I was really lucky to be part of Fox Sports South in Atlanta and what became Bally South. And you won't meet harder working people than the audio people, the producers. Like, they are busting their butts. They're doing the Atlanta Braves one night and Atlanta United the next, and still putting on a great 30-minute pre and post game show and putting on a game. Those people bust their butts for their local sports teams. And it's hard to watch, but there's going to be new places now for the people that are passionate about it. But it's hard to watch.
Yeah, you're talking about, busting butts for local coverage, and growth in general. You were here in Cincinnati when we had suffered our second, well, some people third wooden spoon. You were here for our super draft in, I think, 2022 when we chose Roman Celentano. How do you feel that our club has done since then?
Yeah, I think last year, I was thinking a lot about this before I was coming on. And I was thinking about how last year it was kind of, and I mean this in the most respectful way, and I said as much to Pat Noonan when I ran into him after a game, Cincy hosting Atlanta United last year. But like, it was so long that it was 3 consecutive wooden spoon seasons that then last year it was like, holy moly, they're not bad. And then it was holy moly, like, they're good. And then it was like, whoa, and they're fun to watch. Oh, and they have 2 guys that are scoring 18 goals. Oh, and they got 3 really good attackers. And then it was like, I was at your stadium for the first time was it US Morocco?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the second.
I was there
one,
for
yeah.
the first time before I did an MLS game. And I was like, this place is amazing. So Cincinnati last year just killed it. And at first it was more based on how horrible the team's 3-year start was. And I mean that in the most endearing of ways, but it was tough. And you could be like some other clubs that just continue to stay at the bottom, Houston, Vancouver, and Chicago. But it's nice to see Cincinnati, a lot of the same people like mulling around, the fans. The one great thing from day one was the fans, 100%. I cannot imagine enduring those first 3 years, but they stuck with it. They weren't offended. They knew that everybody would get it right. And it's a credit to the heart of people like you that you were like, no, this is going to happen eventually. And then I love what the Pat Noonan coaching staff did.
I was cracking up because you sounded like us all of last year. Like, oh, look, we're not bad. Oh, look, we got 2 scores. It was after 3 years of trying to find a bright spot on this show and tell fans, like, we'll make it through this. And then second year,
well, you guys
we'll make
deserve
it.
People like yourselves that are still putting out content and still breaking down a game after game. I experienced it. We had a couple tough years in Atlanta coming off of 2018, which was, I mean, Joseph broke a different record every single year. They win MLS Cup in their second year as a franchise. Like, every game had scripts galore. And then all of a sudden, like 2020 and 2021 were very different. So I got a microcosm of what that was like covering a team. So Cincy deserves it 100%. And I'm pumped for this weekend for you guys. And I'm pumped for this season.
Well, thanks. We appreciate it. You heard us talking before the show, I believe. We were talking about Cincinnati. They seem perfect still on paper, but I know I don't want to complain about 4 points. 4 points is awesome, but on the slower start from the attackers this year, have you noticed anything, or does that bother you at all? Do you think there's a problem with Seattle coming?
Well, Seattle, if you guys can be, if FC Cincinnati can beat Seattle, who is the only team right now that doesn't look like a week 2, week 3 team, you will be the best team in MLS. The best. And it will, for me, that will be the biggest statement game Cincinnati's ever had. Okay, playoffs last year. I covered Cincinnati versus Philly. That was a great game to cover. And you kind of saw, I think that was a very good litmus test for Cincinnati of where you rank against Philadelphia, MLS Cup runners-up. So, like, that's good. But if you can get a match day 3 win over the Seattle Sounders that look like it's honestly week 30, game 32, I'm pumped for that. As for the results this year, I read Pat Noonan's post-game comments, and I think he's saying exactly what a smart players coach says of, I'm really happy that we got out of here with a result. Cincinnati was the better team. We know that Orlando rotated with CONCACAF Champions League coming up. But if that was this summer and Cincinnati went to Orlando and had a scoreless draw, I would say that's not good. That's not good enough for a team that some people have already started talking about the supporter shield with Cincinnati, that Orlando had the best offseason of all the teams. And I still think Cincinnati can be better than them. I think Cincinnati can win a supporter shield. I think Cincinnati can make a deep run in the playoffs. So I think considering it's 2 weeks in, Pat Noonan knows better than anybody. And this coaching staff that has been around MLS forever, they know that you really should be. And who just got crapped for saying it? I think it was Greg Vanny at LA. Everybody knows, like, go out there and be like a little bit better than a 500 team until August. If you spill it out now, I remember when Tata Martino did it in year 1 for Atlanta United, you are going to be out of gas when the playoffs come, especially with now all this other stuff that's going on this summer.
You're really
I am happy with where you guys are at. If you were at this point midsummer, like a 0-0 draw to Orlando and not really scoring a ton of goals, I'd say, you know what, like, you're not living up to your expectations. But right now, you're fine.
You're really setting us up here with, like, lead-ins to the next question that I had. I know it's early in the season, week 2, week 3, but I mean, is it too early to really predict who can stand up to the likes of Philadelphia in the East? Other than us. I mean, on paper, people are saying us, but are there any other teams that you feel can challenge Philadelphia there?
Yeah. I think Orlando, because if they're the same old Orlando, no. But I think that they probably won the off season. And then who won the summer transfer window last year would be Toronto. But they need a healthy and a productive Insigne and Bernadeschi. And if they have that, I think they're scared. I think they're a scary team. You don't go out and get the Sean Johnson, U.S. men's national team goalkeeper who won MLS Cup in 2021. You don't go out and then sign this import of Italian amazingness and spend all the money. I think 20 million. They spent a ton of money. You don't spend that and not expect to win MLS Cup. Bob Bradley didn't go there to like finish fourth and then flame out, after one game. That's not why Bob Bradley's there. So for me, it's Toronto, it's Orlando, it's Cincinnati, and it is Philly. But Philly is the team to beat.
You guys are on this pregame show, which, by the way, big plus for Major League Soccer now that we've got kind of a better halftime feel, better pregame show. I wanted to see if you had any questions for us because you're going to be on there. You're going to be talking about Cincinnati, and is there anything we can help you with as you dive into this club?
Okay, here's one. Where do you think where's like your weakness? Like where can Cincinnati be exposed? Where are they the thinnest this season?
That's a tough one.
I'll go midfield depth. That's what I would say.
What depth?
I'd say midfield depth. We don't have anybody to replace Lucho. Lucho goes out. We're very, very thin there. And then I think we've done well with Kubo. Kubo is kind of a hybrid player. It's playing in the midfield, but midfield depth is what's got me most concerned.
I'd say if I think about any team in MLS, and it's kind of like everyone wants a striker, but it's like having a good quarterback in the NFL. If you can have a solid midfield and a dynamic midfield and a midfield maestro like a Diego Valeri or a Darlington Nagbe, yes, it is hard to find, and that is what can make or break a team. So that's good. That's good.
I think personally for me, it's more how is our homegrown players going to step in? We've got a lot of talent that's lurking down at FCC2. Kimi Ordonez, Steven Jimenez. I want to see really which one of those makes the turn and pulls themselves into this team, becomes a name from the roots. That's something I would like to see happen within our squad.
We're big on Cincinnati is just big on these young players anyway. We really want what Jeff's stepping in. Our fans, when we drafted Frankie Amaya was our hero. We were going to ride or die with him. That's why when he asked to be traded to New York, it was like gut punch. Yeah. And so, I mean, if you cover Cincinnati and New York Red Bulls, there's still a lot of hard feelings there. The kid will never live it down because we loved him, and then he moves on, and it's painful. So, I think if you see us train our own pick up from just whether it's a draft pick, a homegrown player, however it works, if we get Frankie Amaya 2.0, the city will go crazy.
And that's what distinguishes a very good soccer city from an elite soccer city is people who know who's on their twos and is excited to watch their debut. And I was really lucky to experience kind of some of that with Atlanta United and watching like a George Bello come up and seeing how many people in the stadium had gone out to Kennesaw to watch George Bello play with the twos or in the academy. So that makes you a real one for sure.
And Atlanta helped breed Brandon Vasquez for us. So.
Sure did.
We really appreciate
Brandon Vasquez. What's it going to take for him to just like be considered like the next level?
I think he's gonna have to have an explosive season this year. He had a shot to get on the scoreboard in Orlando. Man, it was right there for him. And I think
those are the moments, right? I think those are the moments that like Greg Berhalter watched and was like, you're not coming to this with us, because I remember how awkward it was when I was at Cincinnati at the training grounds and I'm like waiting on, I don't remember, Jesus Ferreira or somebody or Greg Berhalter. And I'm sitting in that lobby down there and like Brandon walks in because he's got to train with the team. But he hadn't been called up. And you're just kind of like, really? Like 18 goals is a good amount.
Yeah.
Why not give the kid a chance? And he did, right? He got his chance not too long ago, January camp. So I'd really like, maybe it's a maturity thing, but I feel like he's been there, right? He was a late addition to the All-Star game last summer. So like maybe that's where he's at And we've all been there, like in life, in our own careers. And like maybe that's the bite that he's going to need, because he's a sweet kid. He's very good. He's fun to watch. He has good service, right? It's not just the scoring. He has some great passes, great assists. But like I feel like he's just missing that final bit of bite. And sometimes it takes moments like what he's experienced. So let's see what he does this year.
Yeah, hopefully he can make the Gold Cup roster and make a little bit of a name for himself. I think that's kind of what's been missing too, is just a little bit of marketing for him. He's playing in Cincinnati, and that's not the biggest media market in the world. If he were having these kind of seasons in New York or LA, I think he probably would have gotten a little bit more a notice from Greg Berhalter.
Yeah, I could see that, but on the flip side, it's like, look at how many people they look to at FC Dallas, right? Like Paul Arriola didn't get called up, but he was part of the U.S. like that whole year. Him and Jesus Ferreira. So maybe there's a little bit of that. I talked to Leo Campana in Miami about that, because the whole reason he came to MLS in Miami was to join Ecuador's national team, and he was like not really on their radar. And then Phil Neville was like, you just got to get your name in the headlines. And how do you do that? You got to score goals. So it's like, if Leo Campana can go off to Miami and get his name on some Google searches, I think that's there for Brandon Vasquez. And we know that, granted, I don't know if Greg's back, but we know that the U.S. in general is very partial to like Ohio like culture, and Ohio, like how many games have been played in Ohio?
Yeah, don't stop those. Keep them coming.
Not enough.
So I'm just saying, I don't know if Ohio, maybe in general, gets overlooked. I don't know how much Ohio soccer gets overlooked by Greg Berhalter with like his roots, especially. And listen, I think a lot's going to change at the U.S. So let's see what happens.
I think part of it for Brandon Vasquez, as far as the U.S. men's national team, I think it's not necessarily what Berhalter wanted. Berhalter likes to play a very wild style right there, attacking from the wings, and he has like to have a lot of multiple players outside of the box. For Brandon Vasquez himself, I think Brandon Vasquez is working on the things that he needs to improve on. I think he's been touted for his hold-up play, but he lacks a little bit of that physicality. He often gets beat to the ball in the air, but we saw that in Orlando.
He's a big, tall boy. I said there's more reason for that. So that's kind of that. That's that bite I'm talking about. Yep. And I'm sure a more trained eye than I has a reason for that. I'm sure Brandon has a great reason for that. But I think if he got that bite to his game, he's got lots of time. What is he, 24? So let's see.
I think he needs some chili flakes in his pancakes. Maybe that's the bite we're talking about there.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on. We know you have to run. We know you're very busy, but we thanks for talking to us about Apple TV MLS Pass. We think you guys are doing a great job. We're big fans of it on this show. And also, how cool is it that Apple TV is sending you all down to media markets like us just to get everybody to know the hosts and be involved? Tell everyone at Apple, big thank you. We appreciate this. It's awesome.
Oh no, you guys are great. Thanks for having me. This was a fun way to kind of start the week. And like I said, I give you guys a ton of credit. Like, this is what MLS needs and MLS fans need, is people that are devoted like this. I'm sure you guys all had work today, and that's why you're doing it at this time of night, at the beginning of your week, and everyone's tired. And just thank you guys for doing it, because it's great.
Well, thank you for having us. All right. And that is Jillian Sekovitz. Appreciate her stopping by. And we will see more of her all season long. So let's move on. What you guys think? Pretty cool, huh? This is a pretty cool segment. I hope the fans are enjoying it. I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. Did we learn anything new there? Besides, I still think there's a little bit of Atlanta roots there, huh?
No, that's really cool. I mean, if Tommy G had gotten hired to work at Apple TV Plus, he'd probably be doing the same thing with Cincinnati. But you know, you look at all the major league sports in the U.S. and Apple and MLS are really the only ones sending actual media people to go and talk to schmucks like us on the internet and talking to the fans, and that's something you don't see the NBA or the NHL doing, and that's really awesome.
Yeah. And you can't take that out of her. I mean, Atlanta United's an exciting team.
No, I think it's awesome.
We see it in all sorts of sports. I mean, we see Boomer up there toting the Cincinnati Bengals all the time. So
if I wasn't on the air, I could probably talk for 30 minutes just about Atlanta because I got to go down there for, I think it was the game after Atlanta won MLS Cup. So what is that? Our second game in Major League Soccer, and I went down to the stadium, and I got to see it was their first home game. I got to see them drop like this humongous tifo that literally turned pages of a book in the air. I mean, that was my first experience of Atlanta United, so I would love to hear about her. You're covering that, but alas, there is a time limit on this show, unfortunately. Yeah. So we gotta break down this draw.
As much as we can break down a 0-0 draw.
yeah, we do, because there are things here that are worth looking at. Honestly, Orlando, we already mentioned that had the match on Tuesday, so they're playing on Saturday. They're playing on Tuesday. Their coach has to be creative. Not often do you see a home opening side. This was Orlando's home opener, or did they play the first week?
They played the first week.
Okay. Second game of the week. Second game of the season, but still early in the season, your fans want to see you attack. They want to see you go for it. And correct me if I'm wrong, I saw 11 men behind the ball here.
Yeah. I mean, even with Facundo Torres in the game, it's not like they had him on the bench 60 minutes and they didn't go after it. It's surprising.
I think what Orlando did was they did some kind of, I wouldn't call it ingenious. They probably were just trying to survive. They threw the same formation at us that we use. They had the 3-4-2-1 or the 3-4-1-2 at times. And so for them to like mirror our attack with our own attack, I think that might have caught us off guard a little bit. But if you looked at the pass structure, like where they were in the heat maps, it was ridiculously compact. And they knew that if they had escaped with a point at home, then they could rest their players and maybe do something at CCL tomorrow. Maybe.
Yep. Barrial looked confused to me when after about 5 minutes in the match, where he was like, "Watch, this is the most in a game I've ever had the ball. Like, I'm just down here with the ball for 5 straight minutes." Do you really think FC Cincinnati got caught off guard when Orlando said, "Here's the ball. We're going to be FC Cincinnati today. You guys are going to have possession this match"?
I think this was a trend last year, though, wasn't it? Whenever we played teams that kind of allowed FC Cincinnati to control possession, they tended to struggle breaking down defenses. And if I'm wrong, please correct me, but it seems like they're more FC Cincinnati wants to play more of a kind of countering style, more of a flowing style, and plotting and trying to break down defenses is not their strong suit. And so it's a trend I think that's continued on from last season.
To be fair, I think we had chances. We just didn't net them. I think we were able to adjust. I think probably Dom Kinnear had a say in that, and we were able to adjust and just didn't go in that night.
Yeah.
So do you think, Justin, it's a lack of creativity or just bad luck with those chances?
I think it's bad luck. I think some of it's bad luck. It's unfortunate. I think Brandon Vasquez's opportunity was right there. I think Brenner early in the match had one wide. Just some weird things. I think Lucho was just trying to do a little bit too much on the ball when he had that one right in the box. And then a couple of the ones connecting. I think we struggled a little bit once we got to the touchline, connecting back across into the box. I think there wasn't either an overrun or somebody just completely winging the ball and it's selling back to the other side. So I think it's a bit of both, just not having the skill on the night and also just having a bit of unfortunate breaks.
I think you have to give Pedro Galicia a little bit of credit, though, the goalkeeper for Orlando. He's had 2 straight, granted, these are home games. He's had 2 straight clean sheets in 2 games. He played against Red Bull, who is expected to make the playoffs, played against Cincinnati, who are expected to make the playoffs. And the team has done really well to shut down the opponents. Granted, both of these have been home games. Things might fall apart, but I think next week, they're playing DC on the road. Is that right? I can't remember. But Orlando, give credit to Galicia. He's got talent in between the pipes.
Yeah. Well, Bob Ryan brings up a interesting point. Right as I said, lack of creativity, he brings up the fact, what about Miazga going straight through the middle of the field?
Miazga. Miazga. Say his name right.
As if he is a box-to-box midfielder. I saw that. I know exactly what Bob's talking about. It was.
I think some of that was a little bit of steam blow off.
Yeah, that was like a charge. It was
he was getting into it a couple times with the midfielders. I think that was a more direct way of getting the ball up the field.
Boston, say it with us. Miazga.
Miazga. I'll get it right someday. Oh man, you know who we need to bring back? We need to bring back Nick Superling. But before we break any more of this game down, I heard I told Nick that we have a new sponsor for the back half of the show. Go Beyond Exercise is sponsoring our show now. He was so excited, he ran down there right away. It was like, I got it, and so we're gonna check in on that.
Beyond Exercise is a locally owned physical therapy and fitness facility that helps people prevent and rehab from injuries, improve fitness and athleticism, and recover from strains of daily life. In fact, they've worked with a couple of your FCC starting 11 over the past 3 off seasons. Check out their website to see who these players are and to see the range of services they provide to keep you pain-free and moving well at GoBeyondExercise.com.
Wow, Nick sounds out of breath there, don't you think?
Oh my God.
He's going to be so mad that you played that.
Yeah, you're going to get lost.
Oh, we built up this entire podcast blog community, and it's going to be destroyed in one fell swoop because we're making fun of Nick.
No, I do appreciate Go Beyond Exercise for supporting our podcast and for Nick being a good sport there. We had to put him on a treadmill and see how he did there. But if you the ad read is dead serious. We have FC Cincinnati players that have been down there. Check them out. Go Beyond Exercise. I think Nick Hagland is a frequent visitor of our awesome sponsor. Thanks for sponsoring Cincinnati Soccer Talk. We love local businesses. Seriously, we love them. And we love having you in the show. So anything we could possibly do there, let us know. All right. One thing that I did think was pretty awesome in this match, because when you have a 0-0 draw, you have goods, you have bads, and let's switch back to a good. The attacking press looked very good at times. I mean, we saw, for what Orlando is supposed to be, we saw some turnovers after turnover, especially in that first 15 minutes, and then even at points in the game. What really surprised me is how high up we were playing and how well it was working at points. We were getting that ball. It seemed like they couldn't even cross midfield at points.
Yeah, that was just it. The question for me going into the match was, how are we going to play with a new left center back, and with our left winger flying up the field? How are we going to play? Are we going to play high? Are we going to sit in? Man, we really took it to them. Again, I think Nwobodo also has a bit of that chaos artist in him. I think credit Hagland and Miazga for kind of going out of their space a little bit, touch up some things. But yeah, we were able to steal the ball back pretty efficiently. And Brenner, again, another reason you have to keep Brenner on the pitch. Out of the attacking 3, he's the guy that's going to get back and do the dirty work. And Brenner was doing a great job disrupting their attack the entire game.
Yeah, I thought our midfield played pretty well in this game in terms of feeding that attack. Their passes were accurate. They didn't really, like I said, the only person that really went down in terms of pass accuracy from week 1, week 2 was Barreal, but that's because he played pretty well week 1. But everybody's passing numbers went really high, and I think that was getting the final attack in there. Just that last shot that bounce off the bar from Vasquez, that is exactly the type of shot that he likes to get into the box, penetrate it, redirect a cross, and it just bounced off the bar. If it went in, I think we'd be talking a completely different team here.
Well, before we turn the page, any other observations on this one that you don't want us to skip over, like the absolute stunning play of Celentano I think I saw a pillow. He busted out a pillow at one point in this one. No, I joke, but I think compared to the last match, he probably. What do you? Any of you ever play goalkeeper? Are you more happy with a game that you make some killer saves? Or are you happy where one like your defense just helps you out a lot?
I was not tall enough, Boston.
I'm not.
I stopped growing after 8th grade.
I got the wrong people on this show.
I was a striker and a midfielder. Not
our high school goalkeeper was like 6'8". That's crazy.
Remind me next time we have Celentano. One of these days we're gonna have like a live show with Celentano in there. I need to ask that question because I would be interested. I'll just randomly say, hey, back in 2023, did you prefer the Orlando match or the Houston match? And just have him be like, what?
I mean, I think that's a credit though to the defense though, that anytime your goalkeeper has a boring night is a good sign. I think the back three played really well. I was really impressed. We talked about Mosquera a little bit, and I mean, I think Wolves might be wanting him back pretty soon if he keeps this up. He played really well, and he's added, I think, a little bit of speed so that guys like Hagelin can get a little forward, and guys like Miazga, if he gets a burr up his butt to go charging up the field, he's got a little bit of coverage back there. Any night that Roman doesn't really get tested is a good night for the defense.
Kevin on Facebook saying, prefer when the defense keeps the ball away from my goal. This is why we have a live show, so goalies out there can
hard-hitting analysis on
David also mentioning our backline speed. Yeah, 100%. I think it's night and day difference. At times last year, we would complain about how if somebody got a break on us, we all just held on for dear life. Like, oh no, we only have one center back, and there's no way he makes it in time. So, big, great point there, David. All right, let's turn the page. Let's get into the schedule. It's getting a little tougher before it gets any easier. We mentioned at the top of the show, Seattle Sounders. Guys, Seattle. I don't know if it's going to Europe and playing before the season begins, but they look unstoppable. I mean, just slaughtering the two teams in their path. We look like, you ever seen the meme where like the deaths going through the doors and like you get to the next door and like there's FC Cincinnati stapled on that door. How do we survive, Jason?
I don't know. It's going to help that we're at home, and it's going to help maybe that the weather is going to be terrible. It's supposed to be like in the 40s again, maybe in the 30s, so that might help us out a little bit. Seattle is a scary bunch. They've scored 6 goals in their first 2 games. There's that clip of them against RSL this past weekend where they string together like a 20-pass sequence and it ends in a goal. I mean, they're a scary good team, and if we can come out of this with a tie, I'll be ecstatic.
A tie. So a draw versus Orlando, not so good. A draw versus Seattle, you're happy with?
I mean, I'm always happy if there's a point, but yeah, I think Seattle is playing like one of the best teams in the league right now, and Orlando is good, but they're not in mid-season form. Seattle seems like they're in mid-season form, and it's game 3.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
Jason. I'm going to have to play the Weigel here and counter you. Look back to last year. The best team in the East last year was?
FC Cincinnati. No.
Philadelphia.
We played them on the road 1-1 draw. The game before they came to our grounds, they played Houston 6-0 demolition job. They came here, they lost 3-1. So you're telling me that you can base the result of the next week on what you're seeing from the past week? Don't give me that ball to dash, man.
I mean, this is MLS, so you're right. I mean,
it's completely fair. I mean, we saw it this past week. I mean, Philadelphia again, world beaters. Everybody's crowning them Eastern Conference champions. They go down to Miami. Ouch.
Exactly.
Loss.
Exactly my point. And also Seattle, I'm going to get into this a little bit more with Jersey Swap on Wednesday, but Seattle has played at home against a bad Colorado team, against an RSL team that was surprisingly good in their first week, but came to earth when they had to travel to Seattle in the second game.
Good against Vancouver.
Seattle's had a lot of home cooking, and now they got to travel far to get to our location. And yeah, you can talk about weather, but this is Seattle. Seattle weather is unpredictable as well. But I'm just saying, you can't look at the past week to judge how a super team, a so-called super team, is going to play in our venue.
I like that. A little bit of optimism.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming from you there, Jeff.
Where was that optimism when I forgot to play the Growler Cup this week? Jeez.
I forgot to mention this on the Orlando half, but what surprises me is in Major League Soccer, the home team out of any sport always has the biggest advantage. I'm pretty sure statistically it is the biggest advantage in all major sports. You play at home, you are more likely to win. So it didn't surprise me when FC Cincinnati beat Philly last year. I mean, it did in a way, but you're going to beat Philly here more often than you're going to beat Philly in Philly. Seattle has to come here. I like your point. It's the first away game. I'm kind of still more on Jason's side of the fence because I'm a scaredy cat, and I watch Seattle play a lot of games, and they usually do pretty good. But home games is where it's at. Orlando played like the away team at home, only because they had a mid-match, and it's still weird. It's weird in Major League Soccer to do that. FC Cincinnati is going to go for this one. And this is the game, I think, where you need Brandon, and you need Brenner, and you need Acosta. If they're going to click, they got to click this week, right, Justin?
Absolutely. I mean, you're going to need to score goals here. I think Jordan Morris is going to come down to earth. I think you will see him return to kind of 2022 form. But I think that Brandon Vasquez, Brenner have to net a couple. I mean, I think to really put this team on the ropes and change their tactics, you're going to have to worry them. And so I think this is going to be kind of a similar blueprint to Orlando. We just got to get them in the goal.
Cincinnati Soccer Talk, of course, is funded by fans. You heard Jillian talking about it in her segment. It's really, really cool what Major League Soccer has going. And we are fortunate enough to have awesome people that support us and keep CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com and this podcast and Coach's Podcast and Jersey Swap and all this stuff that all of our awesome staff members do free. No one pays a penny here, and that is because a couple people have logged on to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support or our patron page and thrown a couple bucks at us. So let's give a big shout out to Relee John Davidson. Rawr. He always makes me put that. Robert Stevens, Laurel Failer, Matthew Adamczyk, Riley Stephen Burke, James Denbrough, Tom Newhouse, Brian Weigel, Brian Gills, Dan Alberts, Will Kychek, Ian Rexroad, Carl Fight, Christina Sharma, Kyle Pohl, Rupesh, Tom Beaversdorf, Jason, who is super average, John Haskell, Ryan Ernst, Mary Lou, Wes Anastasi, Rob Pierce, Clifford Adams, Thomas, Seth, Pierce Johnson, Mike Parentis, Dave Wiederhold, Rob Cassell, Brad Weigel, Kevin Day, Paul Hedkert, Jamie Smed, Alex Carnegus, Dave Tingler, Patrick Lahani, Mike Bowman, Brett Sova, Chris Hubbard, Kevin Cooney, Joe Max, Jack Emery, Sarah Gorman, David Moore, Bob Ryan, Ryan Durkin, Bart Labita, Rob Triple, Joe Lohr, Bill Leopold, Maureen De Moray. Thanks for your email this week, by the way. Jose, David Myers, John Cafardi, Olympico, Joseph of Hanger, 937, Justin Blair, Kyle Phillips, Ashley Newhouse, Dan Burns, Tyler Nolan, Coach Clip, Justin Gregory, and Scott Dalton. Those last couple being our newest sponsors. Big thanks to everyone who supports this show. I'm gonna do a little bit of Jersey Swap, Jeff, and I'm gonna ask you what. Pen to paper, since we had different opinions here. We have a Growler Cup. All of the supporters that I just named pick a score in the Growler Cup, which, by the way, is live on the leaderboard. I think no one got a perfect score last week, and we did have people pick a draw, but no one picked 0-0. Diddly squat. So no 5-point victories last week, only 3 points. If you got to put pen to paper, and since you and Jason are so very different, where are we going here?
This is unfair. This is unfair. You're making me pick a Saturday game on Monday?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you, Boston? What's wrong with you?
You're free to change it on your own podcast where you make the rules.
That's not how I operate, man. I'll say this. I don't expect a 0-0 at all in this game. I think there's a good chance you're going to see two crooked numbers in this game. It happened a lot with FCC last year. I mean, I think it's going to be the challenge that they're looking for, the challenge they need to kickstart themselves. I'm not picking win, lose, or draw in this one. That's unfair, man.
All right.
Wait until I get to hear my the opponent's guy come in for jersey swap and give his score. Then I'll make my pick.
All right, if I listen to jersey swap this week and you don't have a prediction though, I'm coming for you.
You
All right,
you left that podcast before. It's mine now, baby.
Jason or Justin, we'll dive in here.
I am picking a result for the weekend. Is that what you want?
Yeah, I want you to put.
I was trying to find out
money where your mouth-
what the sports book odds.
Oh,
were.
is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I won like $14 or something.
Woo!
This past weekend
Retirement.
betting on a draw. Yeah. But that Brandon Vasquez anytime goal scorer bet is just not working out for me so far. So hopefully this weekend when I put my $5 on him to score a goal, he does. Even though I will be happy with the tie, I'm going to be Mr. Positive and say that we will win 2-1.
Okay, I'm putting you down.
Yeah, Seattle's offense, they have the ability to break down defenses. I would love to have a clean sheet. Hope we do. Hope I'm wrong, but I'd be very surprised if they don't put at least one past Celentano. But I think this might be the weekend finally that Brenner and Brandon and Lucho get it together and, get a few goals.
I'm looking forward to it, getting all of our picks in from the Cincinnati Soccer Talk supporters this week because I think this is going to be the biggest split week we've ever had. It's the first game was I don't think two people picked a loss, and this week is finally going to mix it up a little bit. Justin, where are you going?
I'm going with the improbable. I'm going 2-0 Cincinnati. I think we find a way to do it. I think they haven't seen the likes of our, number 6. I'm going to just keep saying it over and over again. And I think our back line is ready for the task. I think this is a match where Brandon Vasquez, Brenner show up. I think Barrial gets in the attack. I think we're going to put Seattle in a position they haven't been in this season on their back foot a little bit. I think that Real Salt Lake doesn't scare you offensively. I definitely don't think Colorado scares you offensively. I think Seattle can't just be playing at our throats the entire match.
Well, I think I'm going with smart money, guys. Sorry, I got points to win in this Growler Cup. Got to put my FCC fandom to the side. So I'm not sure what I'm going to go with yet. So I'm gonna back off what I think, but it's probably going to be in the draw or the L category. But that's just for the point gathering.
Are you going to shy away from it right now?
Yeah, but only because I haven't made up my mind. Like I really haven't.
I just came
buried.
up with one in 3 minutes.
He needs time to cheat. He needs to look off everybody else's paper.
Yeah.
Oh, I do. For the
emails out
record,
to
I do not
everybody.
do that.
Yeah, we've heard that, Boston. We've heard that.
According to Bet 365, FC Cincinnati is slight underdogs.
Okay, so it's pretty even.
Yeah, it's pretty even across the board for this game.
Which is incredible given the form and the quality that Seattle has.
Nice. All right, well, we've hit that hour mark, so we're going to go ahead and dive into your final thoughts and get out of here. Jeff.
Me first? Okay, I'll take it. Hey, guys, watch some midweek soccer. The CONCACAF Champions League is starting this week, the same time as like all those other Champions Leagues. Who cares about those? But, I mean, you've got some big games coming up. Austin FC gets their shot at their first ever post-season stuff. They're going up against a Haitian team. I think, let's see, Orlando City, they got Tigres in the first round. And let's see, Vancouver, they play Wednesday against Real España. These should be exciting games. I mean, if anything, Seattle showed you last year that you could have a bad season and still come up on top and winning gold in this big tournament. I have a feeling you're going to see another team from MLS hoist that trophy this year. So go and watch it this week and watch it next week. It's a 2-week home away thing. So go and enjoy CCL soccer.
I hope so, just because I want to see the Liga MX fans super mad on Reddit again. Final thoughts, Jason?
I'm going to change mine up a little bit from what we had in the rundown, but congratulations to St. Louis City SC on coming into the league and opening your really pretty stadium. I'm looking forward to going there in April and seeing you lose to FC Cincinnati in person. That's going to be a lot of fun. And guys, did you know that they're a soccer town? They're the biggest soccer town that ever soccered in the history of soccer.
Heard as much.
They have soccered as many soccers as can be soccered.
Taylor Twellman said something about that once.
Yeah. I think I'm surprised he survived the game, to be honest. So it's cool to see new teams in the league, and I hope you lose every game from here on out in St. Louis.
Oh, geez. Kiss of death right there, man.
Sharp words.
I mean, defenders can't just keep passing you the ball every game. You know,
They have had some breaks. How come that when we started in this league, people just didn't give us balls?
Because you weren't being paid off because you're the best soccer team in the history.
Because some of these teams wouldn't take our bad players.
There wasn't. Well, St. Louis is getting own goals and passes straight to him. To be fair, the Austin one was smooth. I think it's illegal technically by the words of the law. You're not allowed to call goals from old teammates or something. There's some verbal thing you're not allowed to do on the books.
That was totally, bad juju. You don't say, "Hey, pass it to me," and you get the ball back. If you are a legit team, you should be able to part your defense and let them score. We've seen it happen in other leagues. And for St. Louis to not do that, that ranks them lower in my book.
I just think we need to get a Central Conference so we can have them and Nashville and Columbus just all in our little area and get this good regional, rivalry pot stirred up.
Throwing an Indian on down.
Yeah.
All right, Justin. Time to shine.
Yeah. My final thoughts are just looking at the schedule for the season. You probably looked at the schedule. You looked at March. You looked at April. And boy, oh boy, some of these teams are performing well better. We just talked about St. Louis picking up 6 points in the past 2 weeks. New England's top of the table in the Eastern Conference. We get them at the end of April. And then we have Inter Miami just, beheaded the Kings of Philadelphia. So mix that in with a Seattle match, a Portland match, and Philadelphia Union match. We have a tough slate ahead. Hopefully Cincinnati can get into form and we can come away, toward the top of the Eastern Conference by the end of this.
Thank you.
Oh, can I do one more? I just thought of another one. Sorry. I also wanted to give a big shout out to Columbus Crew for selling out their first home opener since 1999.
Wow, really? Is that a real fact?
Big time, guys. Great work. Such a soccer capital of Ohio. Good job, everybody.
The Williford Nancy effect is in play.
I did not know that. Good fact. My final thought: if you appreciate the guests and the spiciness we've added to the show this year, go out and jump on social media. Thank Apple TV, thank these hosts, and let them know you appreciate them paying attention to Cincinnati Soccer Talk podcast. We do appreciate their time as well, but it's always nice to hear from fans. 99% of you listen to the audio version of this podcast. We appreciate everyone that joins us live to make this show more entertaining and flow better so we can see what you're thinking. But 99% of you listen to the audio podcast. So hop on social media, whatever your channel of choice is, Instagram, Twitter, and just give a thank you. Let these people know where you want to see them. If you want to see Taylor Twellman, you want to see whoever on this show, shoot them a message and we'll do our best to lock that down. Maybe for the St. Louis episode, Jason, we can have Taylor on and you can talk about how great they are. But we thank you for listening to Cincinnati Soccer Talk. Appreciate your time. And I think that's it for us. See you next week.